Now it's time for me to invite our valedictorian for the valedictory address, Dr. Jem Newman.
Madam Chancellor, Madam Provost, Minister Asaguera, Minister Cable, Dr. Scheer, faculty and staff, classmates and guests, good morning. And to the kids in the audience who are bored to tears by now, including my own, I promise we're almost done. Today I have the honor of addressing the class of 2024, my friends, my comrades, my fellow doctors, and also addressing those close to them who over the course of long years have supported them every step of the way. To those friends and family members, thank you for being here today. Thank you for being there every day. This is not merely our achievement, this is also your achievement. Now, you may be surprised that such a vibrant and diverse group of young doctors has chosen this particular pasty, geriatric medical student to represent them. Far be it from me to criticize my classmates, but from a diversity, equity, and inclusion perspective, it certainly seems like an uninspired choice to pick a beardy, bespectacled white guy to deliver this address. Though now that I think about it, I may be the first member of the garden gnome community to graduate from this medical college. But the point stands. What can I, someone who's old enough that he has to worry about screening guidelines, really tell you about my young classmates? Well, I'd argue that my perspective from the cusp of middle age is what allows me to tell you all how remarkable this group of young doctors is. Over the last 4 years, I've been consistently impressed with how well my classmates exemplify the principles of our chosen profession: compassion, thoughtfulness, humility, resilience, respect, principles that at their age I was only beginning to consider. I'm confident that every one of them? Yeah, let's go with that. Every one of them will make an excellent physician. When I was your age, I would not have made half the doctor you make today. I'm proud to be counted among you. Now, I'm afraid that at this point, I have to fulfill my duty as class dad and offer some fatherly advice. After at least 4 years of medical school, my classmates are presumably accustomed to being lectured by old out-of-touch white guys, but the rest of you will have to just bear with me for a few minutes. So, we're finally done. It's been a rough couple of years, hasn't it? To say the medical school has been difficult would have been an understatement even had we not undertaken this journey in the midst of the largest global pandemic in at least a century. So, here's my first bit of advice. Remember that you have the opportunity to effect change. As a parent, it's always my hope that I can make things easier for those who come after me. As we return to the wards in the coming months, burdened with additional responsibilities, we mustn't forget that we have the opportunity to make things easier, not only for our patients, but also for the new batch of medical students who come after us. Let's be good to them. Second, never be afraid to say, I don't know. In the years to come, you'll often feel like you don't know as much as you should. Indeed, throughout our careers, we will be expected to know more than any one person can know. But the ability to say, I don't know, is powerful. If you can't admit the limits of your knowledge, you're never going to learn anything new. Remember that you work in a team with other healthcare practitioners with a wealth of experience. Avail yourselves of their expertise. And if ever you come to feel that you do know everything that you need to know, that's a trap. Don't fall for it. And third, let me remind you that the most vital gift we can give our patients is our time. By now, we've all had patient experiences where we might not have known what was wrong, or how to fix it, or even if it could be fixed. but we could sit with our patient and listen and answer their questions. And most of all, we could be there. We are all driven to help others. That's why we are here, after all. But so often we think of helping as rushing off to get something done. The novelist John Green, who spent time as a student chaplain at Nationwide Children's Hospital, recounts feeling an overwhelming helplessness when confronted with sick kids, wondering desperately what he could possibly do. He recalls being given the advice, don't just do something, stand there. You're now doctors, you're not powerless. You can do something, but you can also stand there. You can be with your patient, and often that's what they need. We are a diverse group of people from a wide range of cultural and religious backgrounds, united in a shared goal, to help others, to serve those in need. It has been a long road, longer for some of us than others, perhaps, and our journey is not at its end. But we pause now, however briefly, to celebrate our accomplishments. You have a right to be proud. It has taken us a lot to get here. Intelligence, determination, grit, all that good stuff. But as Stephen Jay Gould wrote, I'm somehow less interested in the weight and convolutions of Einstein's brain than in the near certainty that people of equal talent have lived and died in cotton fields and sweatshops. We have been afforded a great opportunity. Not everyone gets this chance, and it behooves us to use this chance well. There are people who need our help. And so I call on my fellow graduates to oppose injustice and violence, individual and systemic. I call on you to oppose settler colonialism, both at home and abroad. I call on you to stand in solidarity with Indigenous people everywhere. Here in Treaty 1 territory, where an Indigenous man can expect a life 10 years shorter than mine. And in Palestine, where Israel's deliberate targeting of hospitals and other civilian infrastructure has led to more than 35,000 deaths and widespread famine and disease. Many medical organizations, including the WHO and Médecins Sans Frontières, and countless unions, including the Canadian Federation of Nurses Unions, have repeatedly called for a ceasefire in Gaza, while there's been deafening silence from the Canadian Medical Association, Doctors Manitoba, and Perrin. And so I ask that you join me in calling for an immediate and lasting ceasefire in Palestine. Join me in calling for unrestricted humanitarian and medical aid in Gaza. Join me in calling for an end to the targeting of healthcare facilities, medical staff, and journalists. I'm sure that some of you here today are worried that you might face censure for speaking out about the genocidal war that Israel is waging on the people of Palestine, that it could jeopardize your career before it's even begun. I understand that fear. But look, by now we've heard enough about CanMed's roles to last a lifetime. So surely I don't have to remind any of you that advocacy is literally in our job description. When Tommy Douglas, the father of Medicare, first proposed a single-payer healthcare system in Saskatchewan, the greatest opposition to the plan came from physicians. Worried about a pay cut, 90% of the province's doctors walked out of their practices. The strike lasted 23 days, but Douglas was undeterred, and eventually the doctors came around. By 1965, the majority supported a single-payer healthcare system, and today Tommy Douglas is widely celebrated as the greatest Canadian. It is never too late to join the right side of history. As doctors, our voices have power. After 4 years of studying and working alongside you all, I look forward to seeing you wield that power in service to those in need. Congratulations to the class of 2024. You give me hope. Thank you.